Hello and welcome to another video. As usual, my name is Jeffrey. This is the Inquisitive Universe. You're welcome to another video. Now in this video, I want to talk about the top 5 phones that you can get for 50,000 naira if you live in Nigeria, or if you live elsewhere and you're looking for a smartphone on a budget. Now 50,000 naira translates to roughly anything between 60 to, I don't know, 66 US dollars, because the exchange rates currently excuse me, is crazy. It's really crazy right now. So you could wake up today and it's here, tomorrow it's there, and then it's actually fluctuating a lot. How much is 50,000 naira worth? Because that's a very important part of this video that I need to convey to a lot of people. Now I've seen people come up to me and say, hey Jeff, I want to buy a good phone, with good cameras and stuff. And I'm like, how much is your budget? And then they'll say 50,000 naira. I know there are lots of YouTubers who are telling people right now that go to the used market and that you see bargains there. But again, this needs to be said. You're not going to get a lot of value for 50,000 naira, because right now we're living through one of the worst inflations that we've seen in a very long time, which means that 50,000 naira is not what it used to be. 50,000 naira right now can only buy half of what it used to buy 4 years ago. Let's just put it like that. 50,000 naira won't get you a lot. If you have 50,000 naira right now and you want to buy a new smartphone, what you are going to get is an entry-level smartphone. It's important that we get this out. What you're going to be getting if you walk out into the market with your 50,000 naira right now, what you're going to be getting is an entry-level smartphone. Entry-level smartphones are not necessarily bad, but they're entry-level. What do entry-level smartphones do? It's very simple. They make calls, they get your SMS done, and then they run very light apps and some social media. When I say some social media, I'm referring to WhatsApp and Facebook Lite. You won't get Snapchat there. You most definitely won't get Instagram. You won't get Twitter app, and so on and so forth, depending on the phone, depending on the processor that's inside. But what I'm trying to let you know is that entry-level phones are entry-level. They are basic phones for basic functions: calls, SMS, light social media. You won't get good video on them, and you certainly won't get good pictures on them if the light isn't particularly as good as what I've got here, right? So that needs to be said. I know lots of people will probably scream and say 50,000 naira is a good amount of money. Once upon a time, you need to update yourself now to meet up with the times. 50,000 naira right now is probably has the value of 25-20k. The value that 25-20k had like 3 or 4 years ago right now, because the inflation is that bad. So with that being said, let's look at the top 5 phones that you can get for that amount. I'm going to be rushing through them. I'm also going to not be specific on pricing, because when I made this list, there were specific prices that I saw and I put them down. Just before I sat down to shoot this one, I checked again, and prices have, they've had a merry-go-round, so I really don't know. But what I'm going to tell you is that these prices are still within the price cap of up slightly above 50 and slightly below 50. So put that in mind. So whenever you're going out to get any of these, make sure to either like top up your budget a little bit, or just keep an open mind. Let's put it like that. So I've got a list on my lap here. That's the top 5 phones that you can get for 50k, and we're going to be starting with number 5. Yeah, we're going to be starting with number 5, and that phone is the Itel S18. The Itel S18 is a decent phone. It's a decent phone, and it's one of the best performing phones that you can get for 50k. It uses a Unisoc SC9836A processor, which is decent, which can get a lot of good work done. It can get a lot of good work done, but it's still running 32-bit operating system for Android, so adjust your expectations. You can play some games, you can do some stuff. I think you can certainly open the full version of Facebook on this phone, and you can get some decent pictures in good lighting, but overall it is still an entry-level phone, so please adjust your expectations accordingly. So the Itel S18, if you get the 2 gig RAM 64 gig variant, it should sell around the 50k mark. If you want a better variant like a 3 gig RAM or with a higher storage, it's going to cost well over the amount here. But the Itel S18 with its Unisoc SC9836A 720p display, 8 megapixel camera and 5000 mAh battery is a decent phone that you can get for around 50,000 naira. Fourth on my list is the Infinix Smart 7 HD. The Infinix Smart 7 HD, this one is definitely going to cost above 50k. So you need to top up your budget before you go out. Please do your research so that you don't go to the store and feel some kind of way. Make sure to do the research first so you walk out to the store. It's above 50k, but at this point in time I'm not entirely sure how much, but I know it's slightly above 50,000 naira. The Infinix Smart 7 HD uses the same processor as the Itel S18, uses the same 720p display, 2 gig RAM 64 gig of storage, 5000 mAh, so they're around the same price variant. So third on my list is the Itel P40. The Itel P40, that's also another very solid phone, and it's third on my list because it has a huge whopping 6000 mAh battery. So if you're getting this phone, battery life isn't going to be that much of a problem. It's still the same thing. Phones at this level, one thing you should expect from them is that they all have 720p displays because they are entry level phones. Dare I say it, one could even argue that the Itel S18, the Itel P40 and the Infinix Smart 7 HD are the same phone. One could even argue that, but because they all use the same processor, the same display and so on and so forth. But what makes the P40 stand out amongst these three phones and why it is third on this list is because it has got a 13 megapixel camera, which is better than the other two. At this level, I think at this level megapixels do matter a little bit, and it's got a bigger battery, and it's also around the 50,000 naira mark. I think it's exactly 50k as of the last time I checked, but prices are always changing. So that would then take us to number 2 on the list. Number 2 on this list is the Tecnopop 7. Tecnopop 7 uses a Helio G25 processor, which is a very, very decent processor, which will get you, full Facebook version. Even though I won't advise it, if you're getting an entry-level phone, then please stick with the light variants, Facebook Lite, and so on and so forth, because it will make things easier. Helio G25 processor is a much better processor than the aforementioned on this list, and then you have still the same 720p display, 6.6 inch screen, 30 megapixel camera, as well as a 5000 mAh battery. So the Tecnopop 7 is the second best phone on my list that you could get for around 50k, and that would then take us to the best phone currently around that 50k, although I'm hearing that it's getting closer to 60k, some probably above 57k, running up to 60k. And for the phone right now, as at the time I was making this video, the phone was 50,900 as at the time I was making it. But I hear that Xiaomi have done a price upgrade, which in a way it's a bit fair. I'm not very sure, but the Redmi A2 Plus is the best phone you can get around the 50k mark, 50 to 60k mark, because it houses a very solid Helio G36 processor. Now there are phones with the same processor that cost well over 70k, 80k. So I think it's a bit fair on their part. The same 720p display that you'd find, a slight downgrade from 13MP to 8 megapixel camera, a 5000 mAh battery, but the performance on this phone is one of the reasons why I'm saying that this phone is probably the best on this list, the Redmi A2 Plus. Now at this 50k range, displays are 720p. They are decent. They are not great, but they are decent, right? So I think that one is very important to note. Cameras are not, nobody buys an entry-level phone for the camera performance, really. It's just for a phone that can get you through your little apps that you scroll through, and get you through your day, as with enough battery to boot. So the Helio G36 is probably the latest processor on this list. I think it's got like the best battery management, and it's got best performance. So with phones, with the Unisoc phones I mentioned earlier, if you are trying to like transfer files from, you want to copy files from your internal storage to your memory card, or from your memory card to internal storage, or you turned off your data for a while and then you're turning it back on, these phones tend to freeze and stall and then lag and so on and so forth. But with the Tecno Pop 7 and the Helio G25, as well as the Redmi A2 Plus with the Helio G36, those two phones will simply eliminate that problem as well. And then they've also got like better ISPs in the background to like at least give you some decent photos and videos and stuff. So that's it. That's the top 5 phones that you can get for around 50k. I'll go through them again. 5 on the list is the itel S18, then the Infinix Smart 7, and then you've got the itel P40, and then the Tecno Pop 7, and then finally the Redmi A2 Plus. These are the top 5 phones that you can get for around 50k, around that amount, slightly higher or slightly lesser. So with that, we've come to the end of this video. Please tell me what you think. If you're buying a phone, these entry-level phones, usually if you're buying them, you're mostly buying them as a second phone, or maybe for an elderly family member or for a younger family member, because I know most people who want to play games, this is not the phone for you. This is absolutely not the phone for you if you want to play games. If you want to do YouTube, it's not the phone for you as well. If you want to do any type of social media, TikTok, so on and so forth, this is certainly not the phone for you. This is a simple. These are simple entry-level phones that are designed to get you through your day. Communicate with other people with enough battery life to boot. So with that, I've come to the end of this video again. Thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.